Hey everybody, it's Dan with Adventuring Today. Thanks for being here today. It's good to see you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Today we're going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes people make when they purchase a Super Duty for the first time, and that is overestimating the amount of cargo capacity that these vehicles can deliver. And so I want to talk to you about that and a few other tips and tricks with regards to the 2017, 18, 19 model year Super Duty trucks compared to the brand new 2020. Some very interesting results. Stick with me and I'll be right back. Okay, so part of the reason why I wanted to put together this video for you was to help people out there to not make the mistake that I made when I purchased my very first Super Duty. And I'm going to talk to you about that here in a quick second. So all the information I'm going to share with you today came from the Ford published towing guides. And so whether you currently own or are considering purchasing a 2007, 18, or 19 Super Duty, F250, F350, F450, there's a towing guide published online with cargo capacity and towing numbers, whether it's bumper tow or gooseneck towing, fifth wheel towing, it's in these guides. This is the one that just got published on the 2020 Super Duty, and some really surprising results. Now, these guides are a little bit difficult to decipher through, so when you go through this, you've got to be very careful to identify exactly what vehicle you have, and also understand that any of the numbers published in these guides are not making any weight adjustments for trim levels that you may own. This is just based on the basic bare bones minimum max payload capacity trim level that Ford offers. So you can make adjustments for the adjustments are published in here for axle ratios, for bed length, and also for the type of cab. But anything beyond that, whether it's XL, XLT, Lariat, King Ranch, none of those adjustments are made. You've got to go to the door pillar right behind the driver's door to get what the payload numbers are and so forth on the truck. So anyway, what I've done, and I'm going to flip you around here to my computer, is I have tried to take the most popular or the most basic analysis so we can get a little bit of a feel in English for what these trucks have to deliver. And I'll tell you some really interesting results. So hopefully everybody can see this okay. But what we have here is an F250 with a 6.2 liter motor, 6.7 liter Power Stroke, and this is a 2019. Same numbers apply to 2018 and 2017. 2020 is over here, and I'm telling you, almost to a T, the 2020 truck offers less cargo capacity than the 2017, 18, and 19 models. It's highlighted right here. So if you've got a 6.2 liter regular cab in a 2019 model, your max payload is 3,456 pounds. That's everything that the truck can hold. That's what's in your bed. It's people in the truck. It's tools you have on. It's mud flaps you've attached. It's aftermarket lighting. All that gets added up into this number. Now, 3,456 for the 6.2 regular cab 2019. If you jump to the 2020 regular cab 6.2, it's 3,385. So while that's less than 100 pounds difference, it is a difference. And the only thing that I can think of and why that number is different is because of things like maybe a little bit of a heavier transmission, maybe some added insulation, some slight other changes that they've made to the truck to make the truck better has cost a little bit on payload. And the differences like this are consistent all through the model lineup, on almost every single configuration. Not everyone, but on almost everyone. So even if you jump down to F350 max cargo dual rear wheel, regular cab is 6137 for a 2019, 6137. You jump over to that same truck under a 2020 and it's 6123. So again, that's a difference. It's not much, but it is a difference. So it's again, it's not every single one, but it is the vast majority. I would say probably 80% of these configurations is that way. Now, let's get to the biggest mistake people make when buying a Super Duty. They say, you know what? I'm going to step up from this Tundra. I'm going to step up from a 150, a half-ton truck, and I'm going to go to a three-quarter-ton truck. And I just got to have that diesel because, boy, that it sounds good. It's got the power. It's macho. It's, whatever you can think of that makes that desire to go buy that truck great. Well, this is the mistake I made, and that is it costs you in payload big time. So the worst truck you can buy from a payload perspective on a 2020 model is if you purchase that truck, an F-250, with a crew cab configuration, the 176 length, the long cargo bed, the long bed, your payload is 1,508. Now, I'm going to put a picture up here real quick and show you what the payload number is on my Ford Expedition. And as you can see, there is not much difference between a fully loaded Max Ford Expedition. It's a Platinum Max. It's got the extended length wheelbase, which costs it weight and cargo. I've got almost every single option you can buy on this truck. And these two payload numbers are almost absolutely identical. Why is that? This is a Super Duty. This is a hard-working truck, but the Power Stroke diesel costs this truck greatly, about 800 pounds in a payload capacity over a 6.2, which is at 2328. Now, that's part of the answer. The other part of the answer is that the F-250, rumors are, it is underrated for insurance reasons. And that could be the case, and that probably is the case. But still, when you look at if you're driving through one of these states that are sticklers on payload, and you're pulling a fifth wheel behind your F-250, and you're running, a 2,000 pound pin weight on there, you're probably going to get ticketed. So you've got to be careful with this. Your better option would be to go to a single rear wheel crew cab in an F-350, and you pick up about 1,300 pounds in payload capacity at 2813. So big difference between the F-250 and the F-350. F-350 is going to run you about $1,500, maybe $2,000 more in MSRP, but you pick up a huge difference in payload capacity. So, you could put one of these really large fifth wheels behind an F-350 with a single rear wheel and, probably be okay with payload. So, and that gets into another discussion that I want to talk to you about is the 7.3. So let's talk about that real quick, because that is a big change with the 2020 is the 7.3. Now, the 7.3, again, with payloads, it's all about how much weight is attached to the truck, whether, again, it's a heavier motor, mud flaps, people inside, gear that you're carrying. So you see a trend down in payload capacity when you go from the 6.2 to the 7.3 to the 6.7. So if you're looking to max out your cargo capacity with an F-250 and you can get away with a regular cab, you can get almost 3,400 pounds of cargo capacity with that configuration. If you've got to have a crew cab and you're okay with the shorter bed, you're at 2,584, which is still very, very respectable, but it's still less than what the 2019 was, okay? All right, so that's pretty much everything I want to talk to you about with regards to entry-level vehicles and cargo capacity. Now, you want to talk a little bit about the real hard-working trucks in the business, and those are the dual rear-wheel trucks. I mean, people aren't buying these trucks typically as daily drivers. You're buying a dual rear-wheel truck because you have work to do, or you've got an RV and you want that extra measure of safety and security and a more secure ride, and so the dual rear wheel is the way to go. So once again, we see a reduction in payload capacity with the 2020 over the 2019s. Not by much, but again, it's a reduction. And it's consistent across the model lineup, whether it's regular cab or crew cab and so forth. But a very popular dual rear wheel configuration is the crew cab, dual rear wheel. These are always in the long bed, and you've got 4,967 pounds of payload capacity. That will get the job done across the board, no matter almost any kind of RV that you are purchasing, fifth wheel RV or a gooseneck trailer. That's going to cover you. What's interesting is that the F350 has typically always had a higher cargo capacity than an F450. So all things being equal, this crew cab right here is a four-wheel drive, 4x4, 4,967. That's an F350. Jump down to the F450. Crew cab 4x4, you're looking at 4,513 pounds. So round numbers, that's about 450 pounds of less cargo capacity with a 450 versus a 350. Something to be aware of. What I've always understood is that F450s are really great for, because there's other things you can do to them for in-cab or in-bed RVs. So the slide-in RVs, or slide-in campers, I should say, the campers. F350s are just phenomenal for towing. Now, the big difference between the two, of course, is going to be the tires that you have on the F450 are going to be commercial grade tires. They're more expensive. They do not ride nearly as well. Only certain stations or service centers can work on those tires because they take special equipment to mount and unmount those tires on wheels. The F350, on the other hand, uses standard tires you can get basically anywhere. Because of that, the truck rides better. And the other big difference that everybody swears, you get a 450, you'll never go back to the 350, and that's the turning diameter is much better with the F450 with the wide track. But you see a lot of 350s on the road as dualies. I see them a lot in campgrounds, and you can save a little bit more money with the F350. I guess the last item difference is that the F450 brakes are much bigger than the F350s. Okay, so that's a little bit on the payload. Now, when you come to the towing numbers, in general, the new 2020 has got a better towing rating than the 2019s. 220s give up a little bit in cargo capacity, but they pick up an advantage with towing capacity, and that's pretty consistent across the product lineup. So if you look at, say, a crew cab F250 6.7, if you're running the 355 gears, you can get that in a 17,500 pound bumper towing capacity, conventional towing. You can get that same truck, a crew cab with the 6.7 on a 2020 and get 20,000 pounds of towing capacity. That's a pretty significant upgrade. Now, there's not much difference on the 7.3 liter motor with conventional towing. You're going from 14,008 with the log bed crew cab versus 15,000 with the 7.3, again, versus 20 on the 6.7. The truck that I have is the F250 crew cab with the short bed, and I run the 6.7. So, in my model year, that's 15,000 pounds. In the 2020, you can get 20,000 pounds. Now, that little asterisk is for the larger tires, the 18 and 20 inch tires, which is what I have on my vehicle. So, that's a pretty serious number. Now, there's no difference between the 6.2 and the 7.3 in that very popular configuration. There's no difference at all. So where you do pick up an advantage, again, is with the gooseneck towing with the 7.3. So let's jump down here to, let's say, a 350 with the gooseneck, single rear wheel, going to a short bed crew cab running the 430 gears. You go from a 15.7 thousand pound capacity with the 6.2 to 20.2 with the 7.3. That is pretty significant. That's a pretty significant jump of about 3,500 pounds. And then you're less than 2,000 pounds when you go to the 6.7. So for fifth wheel and gooseneck towers, There's not much payload difference with the 7.3 versus the 6.2 because it doesn't add a whole lot of weight, but you pick up significant fifth wheel and gooseneck towing capacity with that 7.3, which is I think one of the reasons why that engine is going to be very, very popular, especially for RVers that are running gooseneck or fifth wheel trailers. For those folks that are, let's say, transporting cars all over the country, I think that configuration is going to get really, really popular, the 7.3. For folks who just don't want to deal with the hassle, the 6.7, with all the extra maintenance and so forth. Now, of course, the big workhorse is the 6.7. So if you're running lots of mountains, big hills, and or you're looking to keep the truck for, let's say, 300, 400, 500,000 miles, you probably do want to go to the 6.7 because it will be a more reliable, better towing experience over, those kind of distances and so forth. Okay, so to wrap up here, let's jump down to the last thing I want to talk to you about today, and that is the max towing capacity configuration, because I think there's some interesting things going on here. Now, this is what you're seeing Ford tout on all of their commercials, is max towing capacity. Well, to get that max towing capacity of 37,000 pounds, number one, you've got to buy the 450. Number two, it has to be in a 4x2 configuration. It has to be in a regular cab. So that's max 3 people sitting in that truck across if you get the front bench seat, and it's got the 8-inch box, of course, because it's the 450. That gets you to 37,000 pounds. If you say, okay, I need max capacity, but I gotta have 4-wheel drive, then you're going to give up 600 pounds of max fifth wheel / gooseneck towing capacity, and that'll drop you to 36,400. Compare that to the 2019, 2018, 2017 version truck. That max capacity was 35,000, 6.7 regular cab, 4x2, 8-foot box, 35,000 pounds. So that's a big jump, I would say, from one, and you're basically talking the same truck. I mean, we've got cosmetic changes on this one. There's a few refinements here and there, but this is not an all-new model. But Ford was able to pick up 37,000 or 2,000 extra pounds of gooseneck towing with the 450. But you've got to get it in a regular cab. That's a rare truck. You're probably going to have to special order that truck. You're not going to find many on dealerships out there. It's a rare truck. But it's out there, and that's a big number. I mean, there were Class 8 trucks from not that long ago that had, towing capacity numbers that look like that, and we're able to do that in a 450, which is a medium duty truck because it's under 14,000 GVRW, I think is the number on that, and so anyway, it's just amazing what Ford's been able to do. So anyway. With regards to payload capacity, towing capacity, I wanted to try to debunk a few myths out there, give you some tips and tricks. I wanted to compare the brand new model to the model that these 2020s are replacing. We've talked about that, and just share with you some ideas. So anyway, hopefully somewhere along the line, this video will help people out and help keeping them safe out there on the road, so that they don't end up getting all jacked up and excited about buying this new 2020 and then buying a trailer that it won't be able to handle, which is almost what happened to me when I went and bought that 250 diesel that I have. Love the truck, absolutely love the truck. But when I'm driving this with my trailer, I am at max cargo capacity. I wish I had a little bit of a buffer in there. Even I know it's rated, it's underrated, but I wish I had a little bit of a buffer. And so that's one of the reasons why I want to put together this video, is to help people to avoid that. I should have bought the 350 for the kind of trailer that I was towing. I wish I would have done it. I didn't. I live and learn. Next time around it'll be different, but maybe this video can help save some people some money, give you some tips, and so forth. So anyway, thanks for being here, everybody. You got any questions, please put them in the comments, and be sure to subscribe, like, share with your friends, and we will see you soon, okay? Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.